rehashed. Steph Curry, I guess, rehashed the long debate that we had about 5 years ago about the 96 Bulls and 2017 Warriors. He had said back 2017 that he believes his Warriors team that had Kevin Durant at the time, by the way, for the record, would beat the 96 Bulls who won 72 games, would beat the Bulls in 6 games. Recently, he had rehashed that argument again, saying and doubling down and saying that, yes, we would beat the Bulls. That team beat the Bulls in 6 games. So I ask you guys, I mean, I know Zach and I we're the same age, so you obviously saw this in real time. Chris, I think you maybe saw it in real time too. 96 Bulls.
Yeah.
You watching? Okay, so it's had a debate now. Which team will win a 7-game series? The 96 Bulls or the 2017 Warriors?
I think the Warriors.
Okay, no, I can see the argument. Why the Warriors though?
The shooting. I mean, in the end, it's all about shooting for the Warriors. So you can we could go back to 96 league rules even, and it doesn't matter. Their ability to shoot just levels the entire playing field. So if Jordan's having a bad game, which he does every finals, or Scotty isn't putting up enough points, which he almost never did, they just wouldn't be able to score and stay with them.
Here's my question, though. When did the hand-checking rule stop? What year? Remember? Was it 98, 99?
I thought it was like early 2000s.
Right. I feel like hand-checking will probably be a benefit to the Bulls, actually, with those shooters, because they always trapped all the time.
Yeah. But that would be their only saving grace. But when Steph can step back as far as he can, and Clay, the condition he was in, to just constantly come off his screens.
Yeah. Interesting. I mean, I kind of see where you're going at. Let me hear Chris's his view on this whole thing.
I mean, you gotta believe that a team would adapt, and those guys would be shooting better from 3-point land. But I mean, when you see the roster of that team,
which team?
The Golden State team, like,
right.
It's hard, and you have guys like Iguodala, who you could solely he would have to exert zero offensive energy to be able to defend Michael Jordan.
But it matches up perfectly, physically, lengthwise.
Like, you had guys like Pippen was the best defensive player on that Bulls team. I mean, minus like Rodman, but he still had to produce on the offensive end. You don't need offensive firepower from Iguodala. Like, you just strictly play defense and not have to worry about exerting any energy on the other end while you have Steph and Durant and Clay and all these guys just raining down on them.
No,
Here's a real question for you, Chris. Who would get kicked out of a game first? Dennis Rodman or Draymond Green? Because they're going to be playing each other, defending each other down in the post for the rebound.
Who has more self-control of the two guys is the question.
I think Draymond, but
I think Draymond gets kicked out first.
Going based on headspace in 96 versus headspace in 1917, I think Rodman gets kicked out. Rodman's headspace in 96, 97, 98,
yeah,
got worse actually too as the years went on.
Exactly.
I'm kind of with you on this one too. Also, 17 Warriors in a sense, because as you said, the key thing you said there was the Iguodala thing. Like, that's his sole role. I'm gonna take your best guy. And the thing about stopping Jordan, it was never about stopping Jordan. It was about making him work. Yeah. So if even Jordan scored 33 points in the game, you take that if he's inefficient.
And then who's Jordan going to cover? Is he going to chase Clay all night? Or is he going to have to defend almost an entire half a court against Steph?
And here's another thing, too, also. A big thing also, too, here. Like, typically, the big matchup here was that Pippen would play the point guard to disrupt the flow. The problem is you need Pippen to guard Durant. If you put Pippen on Steph Curry to stop the ball up front, who's guarding Durant?
Yeah, Ron.
Huh?
Ron Harper.
He's going to get destroyed. As good as Harper's a really good basketball player. He was a really good basketball player, very underrated basketball player. Okay.
He's 6 inches shorter than Durant.
Exactly. He got destroyed by Durant in a heartbeat.
Well, the problem is that the team was so unathletic up front. Like Luke Longley and Bell Wennington are just not playing. They're not even seeing the court because
Right.
they're going to stretch them out. So those guys don't even see the court. And as little as Luke Longley was, he was still an impact player. So now granted they have a guy like Dennis Rodman who could play the 5 easily and defend
Right.
almost every position.
He couldn't. He might guard Durant. If anything, Robin might guard Durant in that spot. But then again, your middle is kind of painful.
You could have matchup issues with like who's guarding Tony Kukoc and whatnot. Like I guess Durant probably is, but I mean the game has changed so much. It's so hard to put these other era teams with them because the game is so different.
I think the rules will be the key. I don't know which rules we're playing under. Are you playing under the 1996 rules where handshake is allowed and all that? Or are we playing under the current day rules where it's a free flowing basketball?
Yeah, here's the thing. Like you could take Golden State's team back to the 96 rules, and that'll just allow them to play a better defense. Because now what? Livingston and Iggy, they can now hand check on top of just swarming you.
And size.
Yes. So, I mean, to go back in era, I think it helps any guy from a future era, because those rules have already been bent for the future era.
That's a good point. I think we're in 7 though. I have to give Jordan respect to get the 7 games.
I don't know. That Warriors team was so deep.
Yeah, it's funny that Warriors team went 6-7-15. People will say, well, worst record in the Bulls in 72, but that's 5 games. I mean, come on now. I mean, we can contextualize that a little more in detail. And I mean,
yeah, and those 67 games, that was like the record when the Celtics had it, 67 or 68, wasn't it?
No, well, the record was 69 in Lakers, and then
69. All right,
beat that 72, and then the Warriors in 73. Yeah, I have a hard. To me, what stands out, because it's easy to say, oh well, no, they have Michael Jordan. No. Okay, fine, we get that. I watched Jordan in his heyday. Trust me, the guy is fantastic. What you hear about Jordan is even it is true. That guy was fucking changed franchises and broke hearts and all that. Depth is where I think is the big difference here.
Like
depth. You just mentioned
we're doing work off the bench, like Patrick McCaw, Sean Livingston, like those guys are straight gunners off the bench. Like at any point, any one of those guys could easily drop 20. All of them could drop 20. So they're a really deep team. And you still had JaVale coming off the bench. So like if you needed a big, he was there to dominate. I mean,
Jeb Booster's not fucking stopping Sean Livingston. Sorry, ain't happening. Let's stop. Like, look, that Bulls team is fantastic. It is probably singly the best team ever, probably. But in a 7-game series matchup, I have a hard time. I'm hard pressed. It's a numbers game. Warriors have better players across the board on their roster than that Bulls team does. The Bulls, after you get past Tony Kukoc, it gets a little. I mean, so your big 6 in the Bulls is what? Jordan, Pippen, Rodman, Kukoc, Ron Harper.
I think you go Jordan, Pippen, Kukoc, Rodman, because Rodman was such a one-way player.
Yeah, I'm just saying in general. I'm just saying guys who are their core.
That was it. Rest falls off the cliff. Yeah.
Right, and I give Steve Kerr because his value was big to that team. Okay, he did one thing going right. That's it. The Warriors. You have Kevin Durant, Steph Curry, Klay Thompson, Draymond Green, all stars. Sean Livingston, Andre Iguodala. Who was the center on the team? Was it
Draymond's the center.
Oh, that's right. They did do that. Yeah. There's more guys on that roster. Jamal McGee.
Yeah.
They had guys that were really good NBA players that can impact. You say Jamal McGee, whatever, he's not whatever. You put Jamal McGee on the Warriors, though, it's more impact. Put Jamal McGee on the Sacramento Kings, he's lost, never be found. Put him on a championship team like the Kings or in the Bulls, no matter.
teams of today to like older teams where it wasn't like that.
Right.
So, like, if you wanted to compare the 16 Warriors the year before without Durant, I think that would be a little better because that team, the 16 Warriors team, was a homegrown team.
Right.
And
I actually had the debate one time.
And that Bulls team was homegrown. They drafted George. They drafted Pippen. Like, they signed Tony Kukoc. Like, those are guys they brought in. Obviously Dennis Rodman, that big free agent, but besides them, like, that was a more homegrown team. So I think that's a team that you should compare them better to, as opposed to like 17, where like at that point, once you sign Durant as a free agent, now it's a super team.
Right. I think Zach left. Hold on a second. Let's go find him real quick. I'm gonna call real quick. No, I'm with you on that one. That makes sense. I actually did have the debate one time on the podcast years back, just out of curiosity, when they were talking about the record and all that. And that team, the Bulls are beaten in about 5 or 6 games, because when you limit Durant out of the equation,
oh yeah,
Durant is literally literally bringing 30 points to the field.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? You gotta count for that. It's a lot to count for there.
But you gotta remember, this is like prime Draymond, where that 1-5 screen, like, pick and pop combo they were running was at that point undefensible.
Mm-hmm.
And he was sitting there. I mean, you gotta remember, in that season, Draymond Green tied the most 3-pointers made in the finals game 7 of all time, which was 6. Like, he was a big time player then, super confident. So there's a lot that goes into that team, and like, who's gonna stop him? I mean, I get, like, Rodman's gonna play the 5, but you're taking a lot of offense off the court when you take Luke Longley out there. Like, it does actually impact their numbers. Like,
yeah.
The problem with the big man was such a big deal back then, and it's not, But yeah, it's a much better comparison when you put that team up there.
Oh, of course. Because then at that point, then you were looking at matchups. Okay, you're looking at so.
Yeah, now you can have Ron Harper chase down Steph Curry all game long.
Right. Iggy would probably play Jordan, most likely.
Yeah, of course.
Clay. I mean, or Clay could get spots at times too, but you don't want to run him out either. Getting for shooting and all that. That'd be. I've always said that the 16 team was much more a better argument to compare in comparison to the 17 team. Because I mean, when you add Kevin Durant to the mix, it's not even fair.
Yeah, of course.
It's not even fair. The guy's in any era he plays in, he's a matchup nightmare.
He's what you call a true unicorn. You'll never find a guy that's that coordinated with the handles at that height. He's undefeated. Who's blocking that jump shot? Nobody in that league is blocking that.
Not even Pippen. As big as Wingspan was, there's no way he'll stop the jump shot. So yeah, we all agree 17 Warriors will win. I say 7 games. I guess you saying 7 as well? 6, 7, remember?
5 maybe.
Oh no, come on now. Jordan can win a couple games on his own. Just because it's Jordan.
No, not against that team. That team's just too stacked. Like, I hate comparing super teams because it's like a cheat code. Like, that wasn't around back then.
That was
you beat a team, and if you want to ring chase and do all that, that was way past your prime at that point. You didn't have dudes coming together in the prime because they wanted to be the man and win.